Hey guys, I'm Jerry Miculek,
And I'm Lena Miculek.
and what we're going to talk to you today about and with is a red dot sighted gun versus a metallic sighted handgun.
Yeah.
So, the pros and cons, and give you some maybe tips on how to swap in between. So,
Yeah, because there are definitely a few questions that we always get asked about people that are used to iron sights going to dots and struggling. Don't worry, we've already struggled. We've been on that bus, and we'll show you how to get off of it.
okay. My personal preference in competition, at my age, I always want to have a red dot. I don't have to wear a corrective lens to see the focal point on the front sight. So to me, this is a beautiful thing. But some of the downsides of it can be,
Well, if you're a low maintenance type of person, realize adding another, component to your firearms means more things you have to know, how to maintain it, to keep it clean, to make sure it's up and running. If you're gonna choose to mount a red dot to your carry gun, yes, it does allow you to find it really quickly and to shoot really well, but realize you gotta make sure it's up and running, make sure that battery's charged, make sure it's sighted in.
and the lens is clean.
Yes, and also like on this compact here, it adds a lot of size. So for me, if I were to carry and add a dot, this is gonna make it even harder for me to conceal.
So,
What are pros and cons to iron sights?
well, metallic sights, of course, they're easy to maintain. They're really hard to break. So should you
That's
drop your gun or
important.
something, or you're not one of the guys that want to really maintain a battery operated whatever, the pros of it is it's very small. So it fits any holster well.
Yeah,
You can
and
conceal
realize
it.
when you do have a dot, you might have to change out your holster. They might not switch from irons.
Of course, the
red dot.
concealment part is a big thing, but also give you an idea on metallic sights how they've changed through the years. This is a high-vis H3. It's a tritium fired fiber optic, so it's good day or night. Back in the old days, an advanced sight would be something like this Ed McGivern Gold Bead. I shot these in competition for years and years. It's a high visibility sight. And then fiber optics came out. So this came out in the 30s. People were trying to shoot fast back then, and they had to have a reference point, something with speed. So the gold dot gave you a quick reference to the front of the muzzle, get you into the target fist a lot
We've
quicker.
gotten a lot better since the 30s, guys.
And this is another one. This is an early fiber optic setup. It uses a very thin fiber optic. It's very fragile.
Yeah, I can see
So
that.
when you go to a competition, you had to carry a piece of fiber optic with you and a cigarette lighter. Sometimes in between stages, it would fly out of there, and you had to rebuild it at the match. Really good for that, but fragile. So the current generation of fiber optics are very strong. You can see these have steel housings on them. So even if you were to drop it, odds are you would not damage it.
Yep, and this is a fiber optic front and rear. So
Yep.
if you are looking for like an upgrade from those factory sights, this is a fantastic option if you're not ready or willing to go to a red dot.
I love these. I shoot them in competition, and in the open division, I have electronic sights on everything. I can shoot my regular prescription glasses and get away with it. The downside is if I wanted to shoot this well in competition, I have to have like a 2.5 power full lens on this side to see the sight. Then the targets get very blurry. But that's just a part about being 65, 70.
I know, you're
I'm
not
not
old
there
yet.
yet. 65 years old. I was just talking to a guy 70. But anyway, what do you think? What did I miss?
I don't know. Red dots are a fantastic option. On these, they're co-witnessing, so even if it were to go out or not be on, you still have a little bit of a reference point. Biggest thing, I think it's the transition in between. Obviously, normally everyone starts on iron sights and then they go to a dot. And although it does make shooting easier, everyone goes, I can't find it. It makes it harder, blah, blah, blah. And then you get all these complaints. Now listen, there's only a few technique changes to find that dot. Correct?
Correct.
Correct. Okay. So what are they?
What you have to want to do is see it sooner. If you just make a presentation with the wrong wrist lock to the target, it's going to be pointing somewhere into the universe. So the idea is to see it sooner out of the holster or from concealment. So kind of demonstrate what you're going to do.
All right. So a draw. I'm going to go ahead, drop my slide, totally empty. The draw with a dot, the only difference is the last little bit of presentation. So whether you're working off a table, from concealment, or from a competition style holster, we really all kind of go to this point before we press out. And that is the most important part when switching from iron sights to a dot. Because on iron sights, you are aware of them. Even when my gun is here, you're visually aware. Like I can see down in my peripheral vision, I can see the sights, and as I'm coming up to the target, I can start to align them. With a dot, you see nothing until it's at your eyeball. So that's where everybody gets off. So if you see the people at the range, or you're that person at the range and you come up and you see, woo, and you're whipping it around trying to find that dot, it's gonna be right in the presentation. So from here, you push out, I'm aligning it to my eye much sooner, because obviously whatever your dominant eye is, it's got to get there for you to be able to see it. I'm not like coming here and pushing out, but be here and push out to my dominant eye.
Yep. So what you're trying to do is spend more time right here to the final presentation, so you can use that time to address where the dot is in the screen and find it. Then when you make the presentation, you're loading up the trigger, and you can finalize your trigger prep and make the shot. So you want to see as much as you can before you make final extension. If you just stick it out there and you try to find it
like this,
you're going to get frustrated because you're ready to shoot, you're not seeing the dot. And that's because you didn't use your time wisely. You want to see it a lot sooner coming into your peripheral vision, to where you can make corrections, find it, make the extension, and make it happen. So
I consider it more of a push out to the target than any whipping it.
Because really what happens is most people, when they shoot, they look so hard at the target, then go ahead and draw, they're not even aware of the gun until it's way over here.
Ooh.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So the idea is, don't shoot with this in front of you. Now I take it away, you can see everything, and that's what you want to have, that vision concept, way before the gun gets into the target zone. Don't be this guy staring at the target, and then when he draw the gun, and then the gun gets in the way. Now I can't see the target because the gun's getting in the way. You want to see it long before it gets there. Doesn't make much sense until you understand the concept, and you make it smooth, and you make it repetitively fast, and use your vision wisely.
Yep. And if you are practicing this, realize you don't have to shoot, just dry fire. You can even come from just right here. You don't have to have the holster once again, and it's just the push out to finding your eye and aligning it.
Never stare here.
No, that says you know good.
If you stare at this, that's what you're looking at, and the gun gets in the way when you make the final presentation. It sounds really silly. Hey, I knew I have a gun in my hand, but why didn't you see it sooner? Oh, it got in my way. I can't see the target. You want to see it way before it gets to the target. That's why I got to do something. Same thing with the metallic sight. It's even more important that you see the sight coming into the target long before you see this. If you stare at this and you bring your gun into it, then you got to bring your focal point back to where this is, the sight is. You've lost all that time reference, plus you didn't see the firearm coming into the target zone.
Yep. So
Always
what he's saying right here
before.
is, whenever you're shooting, no matter if you have 1, 2, 20 targets, your vision never needs to be out there. It needs to be, especially if you don't have a gun in your hands yet, like I'm here, all of my vision, even though I'm looking forward, all of my focus is right here, because this is the pathway that my gun is going to travel, and the most important thing is that I find that sight quickly. So you want to bring all of your focus here. You can do this. I do this with everybody that I teach. I ask them to stare at me, put their hands here, and then see how much of their hands that they can focus on while maintaining eye contact with me. And you'll see that this pathway right here is one of the most important things.
And what you want to also what you also want to comprehend is, if you look at police engagements to a threat, their hit ratio is extremely poor, and it's not because they're poorly trained. There's a couple of factors there. One is they have to justify what they do so much that when they look at the threat so hard, when they bring this out of the holster, they still have to justify everything, and their vision is so far downrange, they never truly look at the sight, be it a dot or a front blade, and the hit ratio is very poor. So you don't want to be that guy. In a competition, you don't have to justify your shot. You know you're going to shoot a target. So use your vision as soon as you can. Don't get target fixation. See the sight sooner, and you can see it coming into the target zone. You can prep your trigger and make a good shot.
Yep.
So.
And lastly, if you are presenting your gun to the target and you're not finding it, realize the tiniest movements, do little circles, go up, usually up and down is where people have lost it the most. So don't get out here, don't be whipping it around. Very tiny motions to find it. And then once you find it, really think about what that feels like. And then don't move your hands, don't do anything. Come back and then represent it to the target.
Repetition, guys.
Yep.
Consistency wins.
Pow-pow.